I get this one all the time. I really love your hand lotions.
Well, you can thank the team over here for putting them out all the time. So.
So Jergens is not the hand lotion company.
We're not the hand lotion company. No, we make machine tool parts, and we make the most sophisticated electric screwdriver in the world.
Can I buy that on late night television?
You can, but it's about $7,000 a screwdriver. Okay. So we'd love for you to buy as many as you want.
Is that shipping and handling as well?
I'll personally deliver it to you.
Let me start with my first question, actually using the words of Brent Larkin, who wrote a column in the Plain Dealer about you. Here's what Brent wrote. He said, when the GOP last won a countywide office, LeBron James was in third grade, Bernie Kosar was the Browns quarterback, Mike White was in his first term as mayor, and Ed Fitzgerald was in law school. It's been a long time, more than 2 decades, since that has happened, since a Republican has taken a countywide office. Why do you think the environment is right now?
So it's about time for us to change those numbers. I would agree. I think that the time is right because I think you have to look at it and say, and I personally look at it and say, is the job done? And I think that we can all look at it and say, no, there's a whole bunch of folks over here from the Charter Review Commission that will acknowledge the job is not done. Do we have things to do? Absolutely. Do I believe that I fit the mold of what they're looking for? When you wrote the charter, they're looking for a county executive. I spent 30 years as an executive. I spent 28 years as an officer in the United States Army. I developed, I co-developed the world's first internet business for manufacturing, and I spent the last 4 years understanding county government from the inside. I think people are ready this year to finally say it's a year in which we look at a person, not a party. And why shouldn't it be this year in Cuyahoga County? So I stand ready to do that, and I think that people in this county are finally ready to wake up and say, hey, let's suddenly finish the job, let's go forward, let's build on the foundations of the first 4 years, and let me go forward and be that leader. I think I can make the difference.
Would you prefer to erase the D or the R after the candidate's name?
I think that's a fantastic question. Not only do I think that, I actually proposed that when we had conversations from the Charter Review Commission. I think that if you look at the 59 communities in northeastern Ohio, you only vote D or R for a position of this nature, and I think 3 of the 59. So when you think about it, in your municipality, in your school district, in your community, you don't vote D or R. Why shouldn't it be that way in the most important office in Cuyahoga County?
The Democrats are going to be here, as Dan Moulthrop said, next week. I think there's like 64 candidates for county executive. And they'll be here. They're going to build a much bigger stage, reinforce it. But I wonder what they should be talking about. We'll talk about some of your issues here, but looking forward at that discussion, what should those Democrats be addressing, and what won't they address in your view?
Well, what they won't address is they won't address the fact that you're asking them to be the executive and a leader with experience of having been a manufacturing leader or a leader of a business or an entrepreneur that started something. So what they won't be able to talk about, they'll be able to talk about politics and how their experience in those areas. What I don't think they'll be able to talk about is 30 years of leadership, 28 years in the Army, having driven business decisions, having been on the inside of county government for these first 4 years. So I don't know what they're going to talk about, but I do believe they won't be able to talk about any of those things.
You've run Jergens, and you've mentioned it, and I think here at the table of your colleagues here from that company. So you do have experience as somebody that runs a business. And there are some people that say government should run more like a business. There's another line of thinking that is government is nothing like a business. It doesn't have a profit motive. It's there to serve the electorate and the citizenry. So you're in business and you're in government. Which is it?
I think what you are is you're in the service of an individual. And that individual, whether or not that individual is receiving services from the government or that individual is receiving services from a corporation, if you take that, almost that Disney-esque attitude, and you can sense it when you go to an organization that has a desire to serve and to be part of that, I don't think that you have to create a hard-line delineation that says this person did this in their entire career and this person did that. If you have the objective of serving people and doing that from the heart and having with a passion, I think that a business person can very effectively move into this role, and I've been doing it for the last 4 years. One of the things you didn't have listed on there, on that, Mike, was I also spent 12 years on the Chagrin Falls Board of Education. When we came on board, we had about 4 AP classes. By the time we left, we had 28, because service was critical to our students.
So that discussion that it should be more like a business, are there areas where you think county government should operate more like a traditional business, and are there places where that really can't happen?
Well, I think that one of the things that you got to look at, and I've got this problem, I guess, or this element of me that says that I'm not afraid of taking on a hard issue. I'm not afraid to challenge it, to analyze it, to put it together, to work with a team, to build a solution, and then ultimately put that in place. And I guess, just as a little minor example, if anybody is a native Clevelander, you know something about the Collinwood Railroad Yards. That sat abandoned for almost 20 years. We looked at it as a team. Ultimately, somebody had to make the decision, we're going to clean up that worst brownfield. We did it. We built it. We put our building there. But the core part of that is we put people to work, and they're now part of an element of service out there. And today, 50 acres that sat abandoned now has an entire workforce of people across that entire area between Juergens, Food Bank, Cleveland Clinic. So I think that you can make those transitions. I think it is very viable to take the best of one principle and bring it forward. We started when we created the charter, and we passed a charter, we passed a reform, but we haven't finished the reorganization. And as we get further, I'd like to be able to talk about that, so you can start to bring some of those business principles and the human principles together in a single service.
Well, now's the greatest time as any. You said when you made your announcement, the quote was, "I believe together we can finish the reform of county government." And I wonder, in your view, what is unfinished?
Well, I think what we started, and there's no question that there's 11 of us on the county council, and I think that we've done a great job personally of eliminating that R&D element. We talk as a group, we're collegial. So that piece of the reform, I think, has moved forward from what the people who put the charter together and said we need to be a broad base. We work well with the current county executive, but we only have started on the process. If you look at it, the Charter Review Commission came through with a number of suggestions, and this body over here worked diligently. Of the list of items they put forth, only 4 made it to the ballot. So I would dare say that they probably think we have not quite finished the project either. And I see a lot of heads nodding over from the county, the Charter Review Commission. And I mean, we can talk about specifics on it. And that is one of the questions I was asked by the plain dealer in the question and answer period. We were asked, is corruption gone in the county? And my answer to that is that you have to ask the FBI, because they are the professionals that are doing that part. Is the risk of corruption gone? And the answer to that is we can never, ever assume that it'll be gone forever. We must be diligent, we must work hard, and when suggestions come forward to create an independent inspector general, to have the watchdog, to have the people out there being the eyes and ears of complete independence, that's some of the stuff that is really unfinished. They also suggested that the sheriff should be an independent body, that they should not be one in which you can fire an investigative person without some background and checks. And I think the suggestion was that you have to have a supermajority from the council I think you had to have a supermajority that hit 8 out of the 11. I think great ideas. So when I say it's not done, we're started. We're moving down the right direction. A lot more room to go. And I guess you're not supposed to make commitments and this kind of stuff. You're supposed to kind of be a little wishy-washy. But I'm committing that I'll be here for 8 years if elected and re-elected, because I think it's the job that needs an 8-year commitment.